Hi everyone, Miss Millender here, and today we're going to talk about the parts of a chemical equation. Here's an example of a chemical equation. I'll talk more about this in detail in a couple minutes. However, this is the one we're going to be using for these notes. Okay, so what it does is it represents a chemical reaction. So here we go. It's the same equation that was on the other sheet. We start with some sodium. We added some water to it. And those two things, they react to produce this stuff called sodium hydroxide, which is the major ingredient in drain cleaner, and it's used in a lot of manufacturing stuff. And this is hydrogen gas, which is explosive. So that's what our chemical equation is, just so you have a clue what you're looking at. The first part of the chemical equation, which is everything to the left of the arrow, these are called the reactants. These are the things that react together. So you can remember this as the chemicals you combine, what you start with, the ingredients, or everything that appears before the arrow. So whichever one of those helps you remember what the reactants are, great. So on the other side of the equation, you have things called the products. And the products can be remembered as the things that are being produced, the result of the reaction, or the chemicals that are after the arrow. What we have are sodium plus water. Those are the so those are the reactants. They react to produce the products of sodium hydroxide and hydrogen gas. All right, so now we're looking at the numbers that show up in front of the chemical symbols or formulas. So you can see the three of them are 2, and then one of them is blank. What's that all about? Well, it's just like math. When you have, x plus y, you don't have to write 1x plus 1y. You assume that the 1 is there. And it's the same thing in chemical equations. In front of the H2, although we don't have to write it, we assume that there is a 1 there. So it's just like the variables and stuff you use in math. So here we go. These things, these numbers, just like in math, are called coefficients. What do? They refer to how many of that particle are involved in the reaction. So basically what this says is there are 2 sodium atoms plus 2 water molecules results in the production of 2 sodium hydroxide molecules and 1 molecule of hydrogen gas. It's the big number before the chemical formula. And the word coefficient it's used the same way as it is in math. So the subscripts, in this case we have 2's, 2 2's. They're a number, they're small, they're a subscript. They come after an atom within a chemical formula. They show how many single atoms of that element there are in that particular molecule. So for example, in a water molecule, there are 2 atoms of hydrogen and 1 atom of oxygen. In sodium hydroxide, there's 1 atom of sodium, 1 atom of oxygen, and 1 atom of hydrogen. So this is similar to the coefficients in that if the number is 1, then you don't write it. But if you go over to the hydrogen gas molecule, there are 2 hydrogen atoms in 1 molecule of hydrogen gas. We'll practice. Okay, then the arrow here. The arrow is read as yields. Okay, I've been saying results in the production of just before we got here. So what you actually say when reading a chemical equation, when you get to the arrow, is yields. So it's the arrow. It means the chemical reaction occurs or is occurring. So that's that. We have reactants, products, coefficients, subscripts, and the yield sign. If you have any questions, bring them to class. Thank you.